Hi, I'm Karen Allen, and I'm the leader of the Women at the Well Bible Study Group. And this fall, we will be reading the book by Philip Yancy, Where is God When It Hurts? So if you're able to get a copy, it's a wonderful book to help you to understand more about pain and how to help people that are in pain, either physical pain or emotional pain, and what you can do. The book starts in chapter 1 with a quote from C.S. Lewis, which I'll read. I'm not going to read the whole book to you. You can do that on your own. But this is taken from C.S. Lewis's book, A Grief Observed. Meanwhile, where is God? This is one of the most disquieting symptoms. When you're happy, so happy that you have no sense of needing him, if you turn to him then with praise, you will be welcomed with open arms. But go to him when your need is desperate, when all other help is in vain, and what you do you find? A door slammed in your face, and a sound of bolting and double bolting on the inside. After that, silence. You may as well turn away. How do you feel about that statement? Basically, during this study, I'll be asking you questions, and you're welcome to read each chapter. I'll try to keep the questions contained for that chapter together. And hopefully you can consider that information and understand more about pain in general and how God is reflected with that pain, or what his relationship is with that pain. So we read that quote. Again, do you identify with the quote from C.S. Lewis, and why? Initially, in this first chapter, Philip Yancy introduces a friend of his who has is diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease. And she has some friends who come to visit her, and they're supposedly Christians, and their comments that they give to her are very disquieting for her. How did you feel about those statements? If it was you and these people were coming to visit you and telling you this, how would you feel about that? Also, I'm sure you've had someone that's been ill and there's concern for them. What kind of statements have you given to them? In the end of the chapter, Helmut Thielicke says that he observed that the greatest deficiency among American Christians is that they have inadequate view of suffering. Boy, that's a heavy one. How do you feel about that as an American? Do you feel that there's an inadequate view of suffering? And consider why you have that feeling and how that can be improved if you do feel that there is that inadequate feeling. Now on to chapter 2. In this chapter, we're introduced to Dr. Brand, a friend of Philip Yancey's, who actually tried to replicate the human body so that he could measure pain or find ways to circumvent pain or decrease it as such. Actually, after his study, Dr. Brand came out with a statement, two statements actually, and I'd like to know which ones you feel strongest about. He said, "Thank God for pain," or "Is pain God's greatest mistake?" How do you feel about those two? Which field are you in? This chapter says that the pain network reveals the purposeful design of a wise creator. Do you agree that it was such a wise creation as such, and why? Actually, most people that are in pain, either physical or emotional, feel that it's too unpleasant. And also that it can't be turned off. It's very difficult to turn it off. What are some of the reasons that Dr. Brand elicits for these two statements? And on your own experience, how do you feel about this? I'm sure every one of you have experienced pain in one way or another. How would you change it? And in this statement, in this chapter, actually, they talk about the pressure points of different parts of the body, as well as the pain levels for each of those parts. How do you feel about that? Did it change any of your attitudes towards pain? You're welcome to join us at our Bible study class. The first one will be on Monday, October 10th at 10:30 a.m. here in the conference room. Thank you again for joining us. Bye-bye.